Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Last Thursday.
Howdy ho.
Yeah. Whew.
Here we are.
Here we are already at Thursday. Holy
Once
shit.
again, another last Thursday.
Yes, another Last Thursday. This one came quicker than some normally do because we just got back in town on Monday
From Las Vegas.
from Las Vegas,
Yeah, totally.
which was freaking sweet. And, everyone knows what it feels like to have like a 4-day week or, whatever when you have a long weekend or something.
Right.
So that's kind of what it feels like we jumped into because I can't believe it's already Thursday.
I know, same here. But we had a fun trip, huh?
Oh, man, it was fucking great.
So we'll go over, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about.
And we met some cool people and we listened to some interesting speakers and all of that. We went with some good friends.
Yep.
But let me flash your website address real quick.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And we can say thank you to your patrons.
Yes.
Boom. So michelleshealinghome.com if you guys are interested in any of Michelle's wares. We actually just relaunched the site.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So we gave it a pretty good upgrade, I would say. And the sort of catalyst for that was your Crow 777 appearance.
Totally. Yeah, that lit the fire for sure.
Definitely. So there's a store, all sorts of other things you guys can check out. And let's see here. Once again, thank you to all of the patrons out there. You know who you are, but just real quick, Chance, Sarah, Liam, Amy, Mary, and Hank, who we just saw, Jenny G, Erica, Moonlander, Spoons, Mary, Louie, Diana, Logan, Debbie, Natasha, MB, Nausicaa, Stephanie, Jennifer, Sherrilai, Peter Shell, Elise, and James. What's up, guys? Amy and Rachel.
And also Trisha.
Yeah, you just got a new one, right?
Yeah, I got a new one.
Very cool.
She came through, I think it was yesterday or today. I got that update.
Totally. If you guys want to support the channel, you can do so at patreon.com/thehealinghome. And if you're here right now, thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, totally.
So, what do you think? Where do you want to begin? Do you want to address the chat? You want to get to our drinks? You want to talk about something else? What are you feeling?
I say let's do the drinks and then we can address the chat.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what do we have here?
So tonight we have my lemon ginger tonic, which I've been making for a long time, which is basically just, hot water with fresh ginger root, raw honey, apple cider vinegar, and fresh lemon juice.
Hell yeah.
And so this is a concoction that, I've been making, as I said, for a long time, and it's a tried and true one, and it's coming down.
It's so good.
It is really nice, and it's great for weather like this where it's rainy and it's cold and the winter's coming closer or
That's
faster than we
Winter's
notice.
coming.
Yeah, winter's coming. So cheers.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's really great.
You know what I realized?
Huh.
We don't really introduce ourselves on the stream that often.
Ah, yeah.
So just a quick intro.
Okay.
Who are you again?
So I'm Michelle. This is the Healing Home channel.
Right.
Yep.
We're also streaming to Symbolic Studies too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We are on your channel too. So hello to everybody from Symbolic Studies as well.
So this is Michelle. She's my girl, my fiance. I am Mario. My stuff is over at symbolicstudies.com. And we've been together for how long, Bob?
12 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I for some reason it occurred to me one time, I'm like, oh, we like listening to other shows. I was like, oh yeah, it's like really common for people just to like give a quick introduction of like literally what their name is.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we like kind of just gloss over that every single time.
Right. And then I usually I think because it's so casual, we kind of take it extra casual
Right.
on this show. But yeah, that's a good call. So.
Totally. We got new chairs too.
We did get new chairs.
They're really
they're awesome.
They're just director's chairs, but we were at a thrift store and we both saw them at separate times.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I think I found chairs. And you're like, were they the director chairs? I'm like, yes. And so we knew we had to get them.
Yeah.
And I'm stoked to have them, actually. They're awesome.
Yeah, we really like them. And we've been wanting different chairs for last Thursday. And so, yeah. I saw them and I looked at them. I'm like, oh, we're going to buy those. And then I just kind of went on my way in the
Right.
thrift store. And then it was cool that we both had seen them because, yeah, now we have them and they're awesome. They're really comfortable. And it's actually, I'm using one of them as my new office chair too.
Yeah, right.
So it's pretty cool. So
Mm-hmm.
new chairs, awesome.
And I'm inspired. I kind of, because this is the first director's chair I've ever owned. I'm kind of curious the history of the director's chair. Like someone is probably responsible for designing it, or a company is responsible for designing it. And then I know they're associated obviously with like filmmaking and stuff, but were they designed with that intention? Because they're lightweight, you can fold them up, you know, you can get up and down really quickly from them. And so I don't know. I kind of want to look into it, just being a design nerd.
Yeah, I could see why.
So
I mean, there has to be a history to them.
I would think so.
Yeah,
But anyway,
nice.
cool. So we are taking calls today. So
Yes.
if anyone's interested in joining us for a little bit, they can use the link that I posted earlier. But there you go. I just posted it again. And so all you have to do is click that link and you can join us and say hey or ask a question, share a story, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Perhaps you were just at Flattoberfest
Right.
this past weekend.
Yep.
We met some people who hang out with us on here over the weekend, which is really cool too.
Yeah, it was actually really cool to finally like meet, where the internet and the 3D meet. That's how it felt. So that was really cool. It's just so cool to put faces to names, faces to voices, and then actually picking up on a person's actual resonance. And, you get such a better sense for somebody when you meet them in person because you just pick up on their energies.
Totally.
Which you can't do when you're online. You can to a certain extent, but,
I've said this before, and I feel like it's just true. It's like the people that you know from the internet, I just feel like there's already some sort of bond or something because you're okay with the same sort of information. I feel like you don't have to really go through like a lot of like, I don't know, like obviously you're going to be polite to each other, but like the pleasantry sort of thing or like feeling each other out sort of thing, I feel like you kind of just bypass that a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you can just say hi and it's super comfortable and whatever. And then, I don't know, you could start talking about other stuff pretty quickly without having to, see if this person's going to get offended if I bring this up or that up,
Right. Yeah, which is very nice.
Totally. So what was your big takeaway from the weekend? Or is there anything specifically you want to talk about?
I feel like, and I don't know, maybe other people in the chat feel this way or whatever, but whenever I take a big trip, and it's not like this was a big trip. I mean, Vegas really isn't that far. We did fly, all that stuff. But I'll say, I feel like I learned a lot about myself even. And I feel like every trip is like that.
Yeah.
And so that was a big one.
Well, what do you think you learned about yourself?
I think I learned that I'm actually more introverted than I think I am, which is kind of random.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm more extroverted. I'm extroverted, but I feel like I've gone through times in my life where I've felt like I'm really extroverted, but then like in hindsight realizing like I was just really extroverted because I was drinking alcohol all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that I just think as I've gotten older too or something, that's a thing. And I feel like being at a conference, which I haven't been at a conference in a long time, kind of like reminded me of that. And another thing that I realized is that it's hard for me to sit through lecture after lecture after lecture.
Yeah.
I'm more like I like things
like broken up a little bit.
So for me, it was hard for me to settle in, and it's usually hard for me to settle into places when there's a lot of people. Even when we go to like a party or whatever, you get to a party and you have your stuff in your hand and you have food and you have a bag and you have this and you have that and everybody's saying hello and this and that. And it usually takes me a good half hour to like settle in and feel calm or comfortable enough to then be like, okay, now I can eat or,
Right.
whatever. Cause I'm like, not even anxious, but you're just, the energy is like, you know, a little bit higher. So that was something that I realized. But all in all, I feel like it's pretty incredible to see a room full of people that at least have one thing in common, that the earth is flat.
Right.
You know, regardless of like all the other things or whatever that you may or may not agree on, to think that you're in a room where it's like, well, we've all come here for pretty much one reason, and that's to like hear more information about this one thing.
Right.
And so if all else, that is like something that you could all like bond over, and you could see that like big time.
And I will say that is that word flat.
Right, just the flat earth thing.
It to me, that's just one thing that I really I'm trying to kind of bring awareness to the fact that the label, the title itself, I keep on using the same word, has a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
It has a tremendous amount of baggage. And so I prefer to use geocentric.
Yeah.
And that might be splitting hairs, or that might be too anal for people or whatever, you know, because I wouldn't, if I were talking to somebody, I wouldn't say it's flat, guys. It's just flat. Like, just like deal with it or whatever.
Right.
To me, that's not the most important part. The most important part is that it's stationary, and that what's really spinning is the heavens and not the earth itself. And so that word itself, to me, it's just kind of tricky. Even when I hear it from you, just saying, like, there's like a little bit of, we just paid hundreds of dollars to go to a flat earth conference.
Right.
You know, so I understand what it is, but it's just every time it kind of comes around like that, I'm like, I don't know if that's the main thing for me, is the flat thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Is what I'm trying to say.
I know what you mean. Okay.
So it's not so much flat.
Because I guess I would say the same thing, because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's necessarily flat. I just know that I just feel as though it's not what they say that it is.
Exactly. And
so I guess that's a better way of putting it.
Right. So that's why, to me, it's like, yes, I think probably on a large scale there's a flatness to it or whatever. But I think the label flat, or the title flat, or whatever, I feel like conjures up some ideas that maybe aren't entirely accurate. So I just prefer geocentric.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like actually I feel as though there could be potentially a rebranding down the road with this movement or something, and you know, go in that direction. I didn't hear one person even say geocentric though.
Yeah,
the whole entire conference.
That was a good point that you made, and that it's something to think about. Like, how come? Why is it that these people don't think about it that way?
Yeah,
is it just because they do actually think it's flat, or is it because it's been presented to us as flat?
Mm-hmm.
So then, because it's just been presented as a flat earth, that's all they really think about instead of geocentrism.
I think it's just the easiest sort of thing to maybe say to express, you know, that it's not round. And I feel like a lot of people, the debate, at least in the modern sort of context or whatever, is more so about round versus flat. But to me, round versus flat is a portion of the conversation. I think it's more so about spin. That's what I was on a show yesterday, and that's what I brought up. I'm like, it's really about what's spinning. It's about, is it spinning above your head, the cosmos, the universe, the stars, all this stuff, or is the earth that you're standing on, that you've been on your whole life, is that what's actually spinning? And to me, that's the flip. That's the inversion, is what's actually spinning. And so if you say flat, it doesn't imply any of that. If you say round, it does imply that that's spinning, I think. But I just think geocentric, for a lot of reasons, I just much prefer that. But to your point, everyone there does not get triggered with any of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think that was one of the cooler things about it, is that, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like I've had multiple conclusions, you know. But
right.
What about you?
Yeah, I think that I mean, I had a blast. So I had a lot of fun. It was probably one of the more fun trips that I've had, I feel like, in a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say too, like, sorry, you should just go.
No, go for it.
Just the like, we went with some of our really good friends. So shout out Pedro, Debbie, and Vanessa. And I just got to say, like, as a crew, we traveled really well together.
Yeah, I think so too.
And it was just like, it went so freaking smoothly. And before we even left, like Mario and I had talked about, at least for us, like the mantra for our trip was being flexible. It was like flexibility, going with the flow, because knowing it when you're traveling with even more than one person, if one, it can get, depending on who you're with, it can totally get, someone can get butt hurt, someone can get pissed, someone this is crabby or whatever. And we had no issues at all like that, in my opinion. And so it just flowed really well. And I constantly just like, I feel like because I went into it just being like, just go with the flow and be flexible.
Yeah.
It totally was that. And
Right.
that just kind of was really, really cool. And just love our friends even more than I did before we left.
No,
so
it was totally fun. I think everyone, it's like one of those things. It was meant to be the way it was.
Yeah.
Including all of that. And so the way we had it set up was our buddy Pedro, who's been on last Thursday.
Yep.
He has a van, and basically he was kind of our chauffeur, and he drove us around, and it was that in and of itself too was a huge weight off our shoulders. We didn't have to rent a car, we didn't have to think about Ubering here and there or anything like that, and so it made everything super chill. And then it allowed us to bring a lot of other stuff that we probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything was awesome. So yeah, I had so much fun. But as far as other things are concerned, I mean, I'll say that my highlight for the conference itself was Amanda Vollmer.
Yeah, same.
And so I think out of all the presenters, all the presentations or talks or whatever, to me, she seems like she's a very high caliber thinker, and she knows her shit. And to have her be part of this community, whatever you want to label it, I think is pretty awesome. And I think that she brought a different energy too. She was the only female presenter, and she focused more so, obviously her thing is health.
Right.
And so she brought something kind of unique to the table, I felt like. And I was just impressed with her ability to be candid and loose, but also like really funny. I felt like for me personally, her personality just, it kind of came out and it shined a bit. And so she just felt like a genuine sort of person who's doing her thing, who knows what she knows, and she's not going to make like compromises for anyone or anything, it seems like. And so she's a bit of a firecracker, and this is the most exposure I've ever had to her, because generally I hear about her stuff more so through you,
right?
And I've heard about her over the years and all of that. So I've definitely, I follow her on Instagram and stuff like that, but I'm not going out and listening to her podcast if she has one, or her appearances or anything like that,
right?
And so I don't know that much about her beyond what you've told me. But after this, I'm like, whoa, she's pretty rad, So this is really cool that she's here, and she was able to, have a really good, super flexible talk, because all she really did was just take questions from the audience,
right? And
that's not the easiest thing in the world. Not everyone is built to just kind of like wing it with whatever people throw your way,
right?
And the fact that she did, and then she was able just to land all of her points, I thought like very like clearly and like succinctly, I thought was kind of just a testament to, the caliber of person that she is.
Yeah, it was super inspiring.
Yeah.
I mean, I always get inspired by her, even if I've watched, an interview or a video that she's put out, something, whatever. Her work has just been such an inspiration. And it's really helped me grow as a person. It's helped me grow as an herbalist and a person who wants to help other people. And
right.
Kind of to be able to express that to her too in person, like say that to her, felt really good.
Yeah.
To be able to be like, your work just totally has taken myself and everything that I'm doing to the next level.
Right.
And, even as a person who's, trying to do the same publicly, like, it's cool to be able to hear those things when somebody is like, no, this is awesome what you're doing, and that's great, and it's really making a difference in my life.
Right.
And so it was inspiring on that level to just keep going, basically.
Right. Right. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that was huge. And yeah, just like what you're saying, it's interesting that so many people that can agree on this one thing that triggers everybody else. It's just cool to have that kind of thing. And I'm sure for a lot of people, one of the things I mentioned was that we've been super lucky enough, and we've talked about this a number of times, but like we're lucky enough to have had people in our real life that we can talk to about all sorts of things, who are open-minded, even if they may not agree with us entirely. But we've had for years and years and years a community that we can talk to. For some of these people, this is probably the first time they've ever been able to really be exposed to like handfuls of people that they can chat about these
Yeah.
types of topics with.
Yeah.
And so I try not to forget that, I guess. You know, of I didn't want to be jaded or something like that, because there was some information, there was like 101 information
Yeah.
that was being presented. So it was kind of information that we had heard, you know, geez, almost like 10 years ago now or something. But for some people there, this may be only the first time they've heard it, or second time or third time they've heard it. And so I try to just be aware that we're there. We wanted to meet up with a lot of people, which is one of the big catalysts for us going. But we may not be like the exact demographic. I think probably people who are maybe, perhaps, I could be wrong, but perhaps even newer to the movement or something like that,
Hmm.
you know, newer to this kind of information. I think that they would have like had their mind blown.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because in terms of information, I didn't really learn. There's some things I definitely picked up that were new, but like I said, if you've been looking into this stuff for a while, um, a lot of it, I would say, is kind of not old hat necessarily, but kind of stuff that you've more than likely heard before.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that for sure. And that's the thing with the conference too, is like making, trying to make sure you cover all those bases. You know what I mean? So covering the bases of people of, like you said, the 101 versus more advanced stuff, and I think like that's kind of where Amanda Vollmer stepped in with stuff on more the advanced level of things, because she's an advanced thinker. She's thinking about healing on a way different level than most people think about it.
Right.
And like you brought up, how she just gives option after option after option of like reminding people of like, your doctor may have told you there's no option or that there's only one option, but guess what? There's like tons of options.
Right.
And that in and of itself, just for somebody who is struggling with an ailment or something chronic, for them to hear that could be like the thing that actually kickstarts their healing cycle, because they have like hope.
Yeah.
That, okay, so the doctor's been wrong. The doctor's been telling me that I can't, there's nothing I can do. But now this woman is telling me that, yes, I can. And that to me was really cool to hear and see too.
Oh, totally. Yeah, exactly. That was one of the more powerful things I remember.
Yeah.
Of her taking questions from the audience. One man in particular, can't remember the whole narrative with his medical history or whatever.
He had like a brain injury.
That's right. Yeah.
When he was young.
And it's obvious.
Yes. His speech was impaired and things like that.
And so he just asked her, like, is there anything I could do? And she, to your point, basically was like, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. You could do this, you could do that, you could do this, you could do that. And it was almost kind of like, and there's a million more other things that you could do to help give yourself a chance towards some sort of recovery or whatever, lessen whatever discomfort or pain you might be in, if that's the case.
Right.
And so to me, it's just the exact opposite of what you're going to hear from a Western allopathic modern doctor. They're going to be like, nope, you're kind of fucked, but we have this one pill that we could prescribe, and it'll minimize some of your discomfort or something, and like that's it. And then in order to take that one pill, you have to take another pill that's going to counteract some of the side effects of that one, or whatever it is, but they basically the Western doctors live in a hyper scarcity mindset. And the way she looks at medicine and healing, she's thinking more abundantly.
Yeah.
She's
totally
thinking that there's lots of solutions. There's lots of potential here. There's a lot of things in the natural world. There's a lot of things available to us that can help you. and so she wants to spread that word and that message.
Right.
And so the way she handled that to me was just like beautiful, because I don't know if I said this already, but it's like that's probably the first time he's ever heard that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's probably so used to like just dead end roads. We
Yeah.
know people who have kind of complex medical issues that the medical system doesn't know how to handle, and they don't know how, like, what to do or whatever. And so they end up getting their hopes up. They're like, okay, I got a new doctor. I'm hoping that they have some sort of solution for me. And then you spend thousands of dollars and you have all of these meetings or whatever, consultations and stuff. And it's like a dead end. And so it doesn't go anywhere. And then they kind of end up having to find another practitioner or doctor. And then they move on to someone else. And then it's the same sort of thing. So we know several people that have had this kind of happen to them, where it's this rigmarole of looking for new people that end up having zero solutions,
Right.
essentially, and not knowing what your problem is. So
and not caring what the problem is.
yeah, right, totally.
Yeah.
So let's check the chat real quick. What do you think?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw this link in here again. Once again, if you want to call in and say, hey, share a story, whatever you want to do, feel free and click that link. And our internet's slow, so it's taking a second for this to post. Yep. Let's see here. I'm gonna try it one more time. There we go.
Sweet.
Alrighty. Oh, you guys maybe saw that a few times. It doesn't matter. But okay, what's up, Old World Micmac?
Howdy.
Hopefully you're solid. Juan John, what's up? Kamir, howdy ho. Pedro's here.
Hey Pedro, what's happening, man? I'm assuming you guys got back safe and sound.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Matt Moon Crazy, what's good? Third Eye Edify.
Hey,
what's up, dude?
What's up, George?
Juanita G.
Hey, Juanita.
The Cozy Crone is in the house.
What's up, Andy?
Elliot James. We've got Odysseus Bow. Howdy ho.
Oh, what's happening?
Shannon. What's good, Shannon?
Says she's here for the first time, so welcome, Shannon.
Yeah, welcome, Shannon. That's awesome. And then we've also got Liam. Hello, Liam.
Hey, Liam.
And then Earthship Bear. We've got Hank, Flat Earth Hippies here.
What's up, Hank?
Which we just saw
Yep.
over the weekend.
He was there in Vegas.
Totally.
With Artist Seer.
For sure. Yiska's here. Hey, Yiska.
Hey, Yiska. Long time no see.
For sure. It's been a little while. Our boy Slick Dissident is here. What's up, Slick?
What's up, Slick?
Hopefully you're doing well, man. And Yiska just joined us. Polymathing, what's good?
Hey, Louis.
Jason Lewis.
Hey, Jason.
Undocked Ryanated is here.
Nice. You're lurking. That's cool.
Cheryl Richard is here.
Hey, Cheryl.
And I think I covered everyone. Cool. So, okay. So Pedro says that he got home last night. It was a great trip all around. Pleasure hanging for sure, dude. It was
nice.
An awesome time. Heidi is here. Heidi Hartnett.
What's up, Heidi?
And so she says, "Hi guys, appreciate your stream so much. Hope to connect with you in person someday. I'm next door in Idaho."
Oh, nice.
Very cool. And then Cheryl Richard is also here. I love your twosome power. You inspire me and give me something to actually listen to. Oh, that's very nice.
Ah, thanks, Cheryl.
We appreciate that. Thunder Chicken's here. We met Thunder Chicken as well.
Yeah, what's up, Lee?
He was super cool.
Yeah, dude, Lee, it was so awesome to meet you and just hang out and chat and pick up the vibes.
Totally. If anything, I think you kind of expressed this too. I wish there was, it worked out beautifully the way it needed to work out or whatever. But having more time to kind of chill with some of the people that we ran into over there would have been cool too.
Yeah, because it felt like, once the conference started, as I said, things were like back to back. So it was like one presenter, then the other, and there'd be lunch break. But then it's like, well, it's lunch break, so we're going to go eat, and then you come back and stuff is going again. So I did feel like I wasn't able to get to talk to as many people as I could have, but It's just how it goes.
We
So
we at least picked up his vibe.
yeah, we got to pick up the vibe and got to purchase a few things from him, which I've been wanting to try Lee's wares for a while. So very excited. Haven't tried the cartridge yet because it traveled home in the car, but
Well, it looks like Pedro gave it a shot and said he's happy with his purchase.
ooh, sweet,
That's
nice.
that's what I'm assuming it's about.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know he said he bought some cartridges from Lee too.
Cool. So you want to say hello to Yiska, see what's going on?
Yeah, let's bring her in.
All right, Yiska. Add to stage. Here we go. If you want to unmute your mic, you should be good to go here. Oh,
Up.
whoop. Maybe that's on my end or something.
Can you hear me okay there?
Hello, hello.
It might be me. My internet's really slow. Um, I hope you guys are doing well. Long time no see. I've been really
It could
busy
be
with
our internet
college.
connection, if I'm being honest with you.
Could
Yeah,
be
it
me
might
So
be.
too.
let's hang tight, Yiska, because it's very possible that our internet's so slow that we're not hearing.
That could be.
Can you hear me now?
There we go.
Yes.
There we go. Yeah, I had to mute and unmute. Turn it off and on again. I'm on satellite internet, as you know, so
Right.
it's
So
like
you
bad
know how it
internet
goes.
squared. Yeah. Oh, I know. I hope you guys have been well. I've been like so busy with university work. I thought I saw you were doing a kind of like Brent, come on, a Q&A. I have a huge question. I
Yeah,
say
what's
it's
going
huge.
on?
It's a really personal one, actually. I mean, hopefully it helps somebody else. So I live in North Florida right now. I am not from here. I'm from South Florida. And believe it or not, a 5-hour drive makes a big difference in this state. Just, I mean, right now it's 15 degrees warmer where I'm from in South Florida. And as soon as like the season started to change, I ended up getting a really bad, I guess you would call it like a cold, kind of, you know? And I was sick for about a week and then I got over it and things were good. And then a week after that, probably about a week ago, no, I would say maybe Monday, this past Monday or last Monday, I started developing really bad allergies and I would just call them seasonal allergies. And I thought maybe it's dust because I'm really allergic to dust mites. Cleaned everything. Nope. It wasn't that. As soon as I go outside, like it's horrible. And so like today I went outside to walk around and as soon as I'm getting ready to come back in the house, I mean, I just start sneezing and it's like violent sneezing. Like it takes me out. Like I sneeze for 2 hours straight. Not
Wow.
2 hours, sorry, 2 minutes straight. And I
Oh,
can't stop sneezing and my eyes are watering and I've tried everything. I've tried, local honey. We eat that all the time. And I mean, I even started taking like Zyrtec, which I haven't taken in a year because I used to take it when my autoimmune condition was bad. I got like a idiopathic urticaria and I was covered in hives and I had to take something. I would not take steroids. So I was taking Zyrtec and I ended up getting what's called like rebound effect from that, where your body becomes dependent on it. When you try to go off of it, you still get hives. So I had to like withdraw off of Zyrtec, an allergy medication, which is non-drowsy, believe it or not. And I had to like suffer for 2 weeks through just having hives and everything. But I had to take it because I'm like, I have to do something. And it worked kind of, but then like it didn't work. And so I'm at my wits' end and I'm like, do you have any advice for these kind of like seasonal allergies? I don't know what's causing it. It could be like, the seasons are changing. I'm in North Florida. Would say the trees here are really the same as like South Georgia. So there are a lot of pine trees. There's oak. We have Spanish moss. We have grass, but I haven't cut my grass in like forever because I'm trying to let my lawn do something with itself after the summer. And it's just horrible though. Like it is, I'm literally at my breaking point and I was looking at Airbnbs because I told my husband, I was like, I am going to go move back down until our house is done in South Florida. I'm literally going to go get an Airbnb and leave. I cannot handle these allergies. But don't really want to do that. So I need a solution because it is like legitimately, it's not just the sneezing and the eyes watering. It just takes me out physically. And then a
mm,
couple of days ago, it actually caused reactive arthritis in my knee. And I could not walk on my knee. It was so painful. I mean, I it was one of the most painful things I've experienced in a long time, and I've had 3 children, and, so, I mean, it was just all around, like, whatever's trying to attack me here, how can I combat it? I will try anything. Thank you.
Gotcha. That sounds terrible.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. Well, the first thing that does come to mind is stinging nettle. If you have access to dried nettle, I suggest, and perhaps you're already consuming nettle, and so if you are, I that's totally good. But if you are consuming it, I would up the consumption of stinging nettle herbal infusions and making it as an herbal infusion as opposed to a tea or a tincture, because nettle actually can definitely help with the histamine response that happens with seasonal allergies. And so that's one of its doctrine of signatures, actually, because it's one of the very first spring greens that comes up. So
right.
that's an indication that it's going to be there for people and animals when the allergies kick in. So you probably know how to make an herbal infusion, but if you don't, do you, Yiska?
Is it a couple hours? I think you want to let it steep for quite a while in the
Yeah.
water.
So you want to have, if you have a kitchen scale, you want to weigh out 1 ounce of herb into a 32-ounce quart jar, and then pour your boiling water over that and seal the jar, and then let it steep for at least 4 hours, max like 8 hours. And it's good to do it at night. Like I like to make infusions at night, and so then in the morning when you wake up, you can strain it and then drink it throughout the day. That would be really good. You can also do nettle soups. Like you can like literally get nettle greens, which it might be kind of hard to get nettle greens right now, actually, because it's, not in season. But that would be my first step. Also, really nourishing your liver right now would be really good. So milk thistle comes to mind. Any sort of like what we're drinking tonight, I call my lemon ginger tonic, which is raw honey, um, lemon juice, fresh squeezed, fresh ginger root, raw apple cider vinegar, and then hot water. Mix that together, and I think like that will help because that's just going to help like start clearing you out a little bit. Because a lot of times too, like the detox is kind of what needs to happen. Someone in the chat is saying dandelion, which that's a really great recommendation as well. The other thing that is worth looking at is more on the German new medicine side of things. So, have you ever noticed this happening before? Like, has this ever happened previously to you with certain allergens where it's been like super bad?
The one was I mean, I can hardly remember, but I remember as a child, I remember knowing that like I had a ragweed allergy and it was all over like where I grew up in South Florida. And I think it was sneezy, but it was more like, when you're stuffy. Like I'm kind of closing my nose right now. The thing is like I'm not stuffy at all. Like I have no stuffiness. It's just it's not like that was when I was a child where my nose was running and it was like, oh, and all of that. And now it's just my body goes into I don't even know. Like I was just telling my husband because we got this house from my dad after he died, and I was like, "This house is haunted." Like, I'm just going crazy. But I haven't had nettle in a long while, honestly. I used to live in Washington State, and I used to pick it because it grows all over there. I used to run into it, and I was like, "What the hell?" Because it itches when it touches you. But I used to pick it, dry it, and make my own. I haven't had it in forever, so I will try that because I do remember reading that it is good for that, and I just don't want to get dependent on Zyrtec again because I think I spent I think I took it daily for 3 years when I was having a lot of way back, like in 2016 to 2018. And I don't want to have to get back on it. And then people were saying Flonase, and I'm like, I am not squirting anything up my nose like that. I don't know what it is. Like just not going for it. But yeah, I've
Right.
never had anything like this where, like it when I had the ragweed allergy as a kid and then I outgrew it, it was just like, I guess my body was getting used to it. But this is like I'll just sneeze violently and then I'll feel like crap. And then the reactive arthritis was the worst because how it happened is like on my left knee, I noticed like a little hive and I thought, is that a bite? It wasn't a bite though, because I could tell because it wasn't, I've been stung by so many wasps in my life because I was that dumb kid who like dug in things and like piles of garbage and got attacked like frequently. So I was like, this isn't an insect bite. and it was like a little hive, but it wasn't itchy really. And then my whole knee, like my knee wasn't swollen, but it was like from the inside out, this pain. And I was like, oh, I know what this is. I've gotten this before. And the time I had gotten that is when I developed my shellfish allergy and I was eating like crab. And I mean, my ankles, my knees, every like, joint in my body was in so much pain. So I've never had seasonal allergies do that. And I've been allergy tested and was told I had no pollen allergy. But I mean, there's bazillions of pollens. And I'm almost wondering, like, could it be something even like environmental? Because there is a wood, like, I don't know if it's a factory. It's like a place where they get all the pine and they like cut it
Mm.
into boards. And it's not right by me, but it is in town and it's a very small town I'm living in right now. So I'm wondering, could it even be something like that? Like the fibers are in the air. And so like things like nettle, I'm sure will at least tell my body, like, chill out, dude, you're okay. Like,
Yeah, no, that definitely could be a thing. The other thing too that comes to mind is, kind of just doing an overall detox and a gut reset kind of detox could be really helpful because sometimes what happens when the allergies just continue to pile and pile and pile, your body doesn't have a chance to really like almost process everything, I think. And so I think doing almost like an anti-inflammatory diet, even doing a fast would be really helpful. So cutting out basically any foods that cause inflammation, which are, wheat and dairy and sugar. Definitely dairy that's not raw. I would recommend you could probably even have raw milk, but I would personally probably do that and do like even an alkaline diet, which with when you're doing an alkaline diet, you're actually also taking out meat as well. And I don't promote like a vegetarian or vegan diet by any means, but when you are in a situation like you're in, what you need, I think what is a really good thing to do is to literally change everything that you do normally. Because I think our bodies respond really well to change, even though change is difficult and change is hard. When we go the total opposite direction of what we do normally, our body responds pretty quickly. And I think that that could be really helpful for you. And as far as alkaline goes, I recommend looking up like charts online. There's a lot of great charts that will show you like the alkalinity of the foods and the pHs and where what you want to be consuming to remain alkaline. And I've had really great success with that even recently, and especially the anti-inflammation diet. Is really wonderful. So even like being lower on caffeine intake, things that you wouldn't even expect that cause inflammation, that actually causes inflammation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, well, unless you're looking into it, you realize that a lot of things are acidic.
Yeah.
I want to hear you finish your thought maybe on and maybe if this isn't exactly pertainable to Yiska, but I would just want to hear it anyway. What would be the G&M sort of line of thinking? What were you trying to get at there?
Yeah, well, even some of the things that you're saying about like your father's home, that you inherited it and you said this, I think this house might be haunted, and you're comparing where you're at right now, south to North Florida. You might have some sort of emotional connection that's deeper in that's causing you to have these allergies because of the response you're having to literally the location you're at. And so in German New Medicine, the way that this would work is that the allergy pops up after there's some sort of like traumatic event that is attached to whatever is around you at that time. And so you may have, like you said, the ragweed allergy you had at one point. There may have been something going on in your life that um, may have been a small trauma or whatever, or may not traumatic to you, seeming traumatic at all, but then maybe like somehow you associated that with ragweed. And then you became allergic to ragweed. And it wasn't actually the ragweed that was doing it. It was more of the emotional response to whatever was going on.
Right. There's a few really famous sort of, not famous, that might be a strong word, but there's a few classic examples of this being the case. One of them being something traumatic happens and I'm just pulling something out of my hat, but let's just say the neighbors were barbecuing
Mm-hmm.
and you had the smell of hot dog
Right.
while some dog was attacking you or something like that. So you might think that you have an allergy to pork or something, or you think that you just have this like sort of you have a visceral response to it or whatever. I don't even know if that's a thing, but you might have that reaction baked into you for a lifetime until you transmute it or address it or whatever. And now, whenever you smell barbecue, you don't even know that it's bringing up, some of these sort of triggers for you,
Right.
or whatever it might be. There's things that the symbolism attached to a traumatic event could be the catalyst for you to have some sort of ailment kind of present itself, right?
Yeah, totally. And that's a really good way of presenting it. Because then also you brought up the arthritis, and German New Medicine would classify arthritis and chronic pain like that as a self devaluation conflict. And so, because you're feeling the way you're feeling, you may be actually devaluing yourself in some way to the point where it came out in the arthritic response. Um, and usually, though, when there is that response, when the pain is coming, it's actually that the conflict has been resolved. It's almost like it's already been resolved. So you can kind of take comfort in the fact that whatever it was, even if you can't pinpoint it, the pain is kind of signaling that your body is trying to heal itself. But I mean, that's kind of where my mind goes, because I mean, anyone knows, like, when you don't feel good, you have to rest. And sometimes you start beating yourself up about resting too much. Oh, I'm not getting anything done. I'm just laying around. I don't feel good or whatever. And then you start to like really have guilt about it, or you start devaluing yourself because you feel like crap, whatever it might be. So that was another thing that, while I was listening to you talk, I thought about as well. So I don't know. What do you think about those sorts of things?
No, I was laughing when you were saying like traumatic thing because I mean, a lot of people would laugh, and I'm always laughing at like I have black humor, but this isn't that traumatic. But maybe it feels like to me, but studying for the GMAT and taking it is
Oh, yeah.
horrifically traumatic. It is one of the
Mm.
most difficult exams, and I'm doing a degree in finance and accounting. It's definitely like stressful, but it's good. I enjoy it. I love this, and I'm trying to apply to this internship that's in Arizona, and I think it's for this coming summer at like Charles Schwab. So it's like high level stuff, and there is a lot in the back of my mind of like, okay, don't be weird. Don't talk about weird stuff. You're going to be around these people soon, you just want to get to where you want to get to. But like, I definitely, the ragweed thing, yeah, my childhood was insane. But I don't let it get me down. I just kind of laugh about it
Right.
now. I'm like, oh my, like me and my sisters get together, like, wasn't that crazy? Like, oh my gosh. But it was crazy. It was really what you would consider a very like chaotic household. But no, it makes a lot of sense because it has been stressful. And then I did get that cold and I was sick for like a week or two. And my diet wasn't very good. Like I had been perusing the chicken nuggets from Macca's, I will not lie. That's kind of my comfort food. Like when I'm kind of like stressed, I'm like, and I'm in a small town, but the Macca's is like a 1-minute drive. Like, I can just go there and get chicken nuggets, and it's like, yeah. So, I've definitely, like, stopped myself and gone, "Okay, I'm not gonna eat this anymore. This isn't good for me, and I know I might feel good in the moment, but, like, in the long run, I'm not gonna feel bad, I'm not gonna feel good." I mean, I'm thankful, like, I'm not struggling with weight or anything like that. It's just and I don't eat a ton. I get, like, a 4-piece, but it's still, like, garbage, poison food, so I shouldn't be eating it. So I think the diet reset thing, when I heard that, something inside of me felt like, yeah, I've been
Mm.
thinking about that a lot. I love making traditional Indian food. I'm quite good at it. I've learned from some amazing people, so I think bringing some of that in, and because it is, like, more vegetarian and going that route, it's a, like, easier way for me because if somebody tells me you have to eat kale and, like, bananas all day, I'm gonna no. It's gonna end up becoming chicken nugget day. I'm gonna re
Yeah.
rebel.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally get it. But yeah, I think the diet thing, hearing that too, I bet you'll notice a big difference if you just allow yourself just commit to like 1 week of alkaline or 2 weeks, I recently went through a huge episode with my ear. People who listen to us and me have probably heard me talk about my ear ailment, many times. But one of the final things that I finally, and actually Mario was the one that brought it to my attention to do it, was he's like, babe, I think you just have to go alkaline now, because I had been doing everything that I could think of under the sun to do it, and then finally doing, like, being very very disciplined about it too, and going alkaline and doing it for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I feel a lot better. I still had healing to do with the ear, but I knew that the alkaline was really, really helping. And I highly recommend it.
And I'll say, I mean, you're more experienced with fasting and diets, I think, than I am. But it was almost kind of a spiritual reset for you too.
It was a huge spiritual reset. That's a good point. It really was. I came out of that, especially after doing the alkaline, feeling like a brand new woman, honestly. And I think that there were so many things that came along with it too, because it did really help me reevaluate my relationship with food and drink and the addictive, side of it. And most people understand that food is addictive, but sometimes you don't realize you're addicted to something until you cut it out of your life.
Right.
And then you have a chance to go, oh shit, I actually am kind of addicted to that, and so that would be the first place to start. For sure. And I would recommend taking magnesium if you can get a high quality like magnesium blend. That would be a wonderful place. Or also probably doing magnesium topically, because because you're wanting to work on resetting your gut. Maybe give your gut a break with taking supplements like internally and using them topically. So if you can find yourself a high quality magnesium oil, that would be wonderful. A wonderful place to start, along with just fresh water that's filtered and clean, herbal teas with no cream or milk or honey or anything like that. Just going real simple. Bone broth if you want to. That's not necessarily alkaline, but if you wanted to have bone broth or something. All right, we got kicked off there.
Yep.
Okay. I was going to say, if you're going to do the Indian food, rock it, but make sure to be gentle with the spices on yourself, because the spices, sometimes it's better to go bland over really spicing something up a lot, not just heat wise, like things like cardamom and cumin. Cumin's really great for inflammation, but you'll just want to kind of take it easy on the spices, especially if you're trying to do more gut healing, giving your body more of a break, and being more gentle. But there's definitely Indian dishes you could make that would be more on the alkaline side, like lentils or dal or something like that. I would stay kind of in that frame, and more on the vegan side of that, or ghee. If you're going to use butter, I would do ghee.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's what I use primarily is ghee, but I won't lie. It would be very hard to cut out spices. I season everything.
Yeah, I
Oh
bet.
yeah,
I
I
am
get it.
not,
No, I totally get
but
it.
I will do it to feel better, and I will try it all. So, is it okay to 2 questions? I do actually have magnesium oil. I put it on my feet because a lady here in my area makes it, and it's really good. And I put it on my feet before bed. Um, yeah, I have a lot of issues with oral magnesium. I have really low blood pressure naturally. So when I take magnesium like orally, I don't know if I maybe took too much. I just feel like I'm falling in a hole and dying kind of, because I guess it like drops my blood pressure so low. But is it okay to mix the milk thistle and the nettle together when I make an infusion? Are those two okay to drink together?
You could. I usually like to do singles when it comes to infusions. Singles being just one herb at a time. But if you wanted to, you could try and do that. I would almost do milk thistle like tea or something in addition to the nettle infusion. Or you could even do a milk thistle tincture if you could get your hands on that as well. But I would recommend milk thistle tea and tincture and then the nettle infusion. That would be my suggestion. But you also should use your intuition. That's why I always like to tell people too, because everybody's different. And so if you feel like you want to blend nettle and milk thistle, I say go for it and give it a try. Just make sure you're using 1 ounce of herbs. So you could do a half ounce of milk thistle, half ounce of nettle or something like that. So yeah, just go with your gut.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I feel like, okay, we're on the path here. We got
Yeah,
this.
you totally got this. And I just think that being gentle on yourself, not being hard on yourself, not trying so hard to like figure out what it is that's causing it, just focusing on the healing aspect of it, and focusing on the gut health and the resetting of that, and just resetting of the mindset, and looking at it as an opportunity that you're going to be able to like learn more about yourself, learn more about the things that resonate with you, learn more about why this might be happening. Like staying in that mentality will help too, even though it's hard. I know it's very hard when you're in the thick of it to think this is a great opportunity. It's like that's very challenging. I'm not, yeah. So,
But there's a purpose, and there's a divine timing to illness as well.
yes.
We like to put divine timing on things that are positive, and all of that. And I think though that divine timing is still on our side when we're struggling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When we're going through some sort of hurdle or conflict or whatever. And so the more you can put yourself in that mindset that this is happening for a reason and a purpose, that there's something for me to learn here about myself, there's some sort of silver lining, I think that's always helpful. And you should totally check in with us too and let us know if anything that Michelle mentioned is helping you out.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
will. I will message on Instagram, or I'll pop on the next live and be like, "Hey, I've been watching the replays of your shows, by the way." I just like I'd be like really, really late at night, like 2 in the morning, and listening while I'm doing like making an Excel spreadsheet or something. And people, I mean, I love it though. I love what I'm doing, and I'm not doing this because the money's in it. I really do love the finance, and I love projections, and I think it's the stress of it is a high-paced thing, and being a woman in that is
Mm,
exciting, but there is a bit of to it, and a lot of things that have been going on, the things in the world that have been happening, and the
sure.
ramifications for me personally with that. There's been a lot going on, so like I think taking that into account, I've kind of been putting that in the back of my mind and being like, well, whatever, just got to keep on keeping on, and not stopping to go, wow, actually, I'm really bothered by this thing that happened, or this thing that this person said, and I need to go back and like reframe that and find, a way to detox that out of myself. And the fear, like I'm starting, I'm going down, I'm starting my new semester in January, and then like, eventually going onto campus, like there is a lot of fear there for me. Just, the world's crazy, and a lot of things have been happening. I've have some friends who recently had some things happening on their campus with them. So it's like, oh my gosh, how much of things that are a part of me can I talk about? You know what I mean? And
Right.
just try not to get too like political with people or anything, right? But like I have friends who are Jewish, and like on campus, it's been hard lately. It's been hard being called a lot of things, and being told like when you go to talk to somebody about it, being told it doesn't matter kind of thing. So it's been a whole situation, but I think I need to stop and like go, okay, like you said, Mario, like this is an opportunity to heal. And so I think my body, I really do side a lot with that. I read Louise Hay's book when I was like 12, You Can Heal Yourself. And there
Mm,
is a lot of truth to that. Like a lot of things in our bodies, being caused by our mental states. And I think it's so funny that I know those things, but I have not stopped to go, oh yeah, I'm a human too.
Right.
And that this shit does affect me too. I kind of forget that because I'm such an analytical person, and I do get into the like, why is this happening? How can I fix it? And looking at it like it's almost like somebody's income statement, and it's not. I'm a human. I'm this holistic person with a soul. So I'm going to take all of this, apply it. I will check in, let you guys know how it goes, and I won't lie if I eat chicken nuggets, but I'm not. I'm trying not to really hard. When you said food is addictive, I quit smoking and drinking cold turkey in 2017. I smoked 2 packs of Camels a day, and I drank like 2 bottles of wine a day. Like, that's how I just functioned. And I quit cold turkey in 2017, and I still have not been able to quit at least a couple times, through the year going to Macca's and getting chicken nuggets. So it's legit. They put something in it, like some crack cocaine or something in the nuggets. But I'll keep up with you guys, and I appreciate it so much. I'm gonna go watch y'all from YouTube now. But thank you so much.
All right, Yiska. Take care. It was nice hearing from you.
Yeah, nice to see you and hear you. Well, not see you, but just hear you. I hope you feel
I'm
better.
here. It's dark in my room.
Yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Later. One thing too, if she said she's still going to be listening, but I would recommend goldenrod
Mm.
to Yiska because goldenrod can help with goldenrod is just wonderful for allowing like the waters of life to kind of flow. So we covered goldenrod in the last Astro Herbs. But so goldenrod will also help you with, it helps with allergies. It helps with like common cold and congestion, but it also helps with fear. So if you're feeling like you're having, going on campus and things is causing you anxiety, or there is fear there, goldenrod will be a really good companion for you.
Mm-hmm.
As a tincture, I would say. You can also get goldenrod dried and use it as a tea. But the fear also is attached to the kidneys. So making sure that you're just, as we're talking about, allowing things to be flushed out. So I think that is going to be your best friend. Just allowing things to be flushed, allowing things to flow, and allowing your body system to kind of just detox a little bit will put you into a really good state. So yeah, goldenrod could be a really good companion for you moving forward.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, well, I'm reminded of kind of what we talked about earlier with Amanda Vollmer of like there's multiple potential solutions.
Oh yeah.
Not just one, hey, this is the thing, that's it. Because I guess when you're kind of putting out these suggestions or whatever, in my mind I'm like, well, what's the best one, or which one would be like considered like a higher priority? So would you have, just to kind of wrap up the conversation a little bit, of like maybe like the 2 or 3 things that you feel like maybe are perhaps of all the things that you mentioned that you would try first or maybe would recommend? Seems like number 1 might be the diet.
The number 1 is the diet.
Right.
Number 1 is diet and going on to an anti-inflammatory or alkaline diet.
Uh-huh.
That would be my number 1. And then of all the things that I mentioned, my number 2 would be nettle, would be stinging nettle infusion.
Okay.
Because not only is the nettle going to help with the histamine response that's happening, but it is packed with nutrients, micronutrients, chlorophyll, iron, you name it. Like nettle is probably one of the most nutrient dense wild greens that's out there. So I would say, reevaluating the diet and nettle, those would be the 2 things that I would start with. That's where I would start.
Awesome.
And then I would go from there.
Nice.
Yeah, because as most people know too, when you address your diet, lots of things improve. When you start to make changes and then you start to see the results, then you're motivated to continue doing the things you were doing because you feel the difference,
Right.
So that's where I would go for sure.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Very good, baby.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. So I just threw the link in the chat again if anybody has any questions, comments,
Yep.
stuff like that. But there's plenty more to chew on with our trip here.
Yeah, definitely. What's up, Dave?
Hey, Dave. How's it going, man?
Good to see you, man.
Hey, did I already ask Dave if he went to the Tarot Symposium? I don't think so.
I think you did.
I did. Hey, Dave, did you go to the Tarot Symposium? I totally forgot that it happens now in the fall.
Yeah, we missed it.
Yeah, and if you told me already, my apologies, but I'm kind of bummed that I missed it.
Yeah. I thought about it this morning for some reason when I was working out that we missed the Tarot Symposium. I'm like, why the hell did that come to my mind?
Right,
You
right.
know, but anyway, that's one of those thoughts I had while I was working out this morning.
Totally, totally.
Anyway, but yeah, no, Vegas. I mean, go ahead.
I have a Vegas topic.
Okay.
Valley of Fire.
Oh, yes. Can we please? Let's talk about Valley of Fire.
Okay, so you had gone to Valley of Fire 10 years ago?
This is 10 years ago, just about 10 years.
And so basically about an hour-ish outside of Vegas, desert, freaking the name is appropriate, I would say, Valley of Fire.
Yeah.
So like a burnt orange sort of landscape with these really amazing rock formations. I have never been in a desert like that. And really interesting too, just to see like what lives out there. So these little, what were they called? The little mice thing. They're kind of like little squirrels or something.
I don't remember. They looked a little bit like chipmunks, actually.
Yeah, sorry, chipmunks.
Yeah.
And so they're more chipmunky sort of thing, but they were like desert chipmunks, you know. And then you have tarantulas, which I never saw. Rams, I saw my first live in the flesh, like wild ram. We saw a couple of them.
Yep.
Which I thought was really awesome. I mean, I thought it was cool too because we saw it during Libra season, which is opposite Aries. And so I had been thinking about the ram because of that connection. And so for them just to kind of be wandering around, with those big, powerful horns, to me, that was like a huge treat. That was really cool. And then the plant life was incredible too. Just really, really amazing looking cacti type plants, really rugged and super tough and durable because they have to survive, obviously, living in the desert. But there's a few plants and a few animals that I had never seen before. So it was kind of brand new to me. But we had a really nice day where we went on a, kind of medium short hike kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pretty hot out there, but we made the most of it. It was super cool. Never hiked anywhere like that before.
Yeah.
It tripped me out. It kind of felt like a place where you could see somebody doing like a spirit quest sort of trip out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then so it got me thinking about like something that I've been thinking about for the last couple of years, but this whole idea that in Western occultism, the desert has been considered like the gateway or the threshold or the entry point to the underworld. And so this is kind of encoded in so many different things, but that's kind of the gist of it, is that crossing the desert is crossing the abyss, which is symbolic of crossing the threshold into the underworld or to other planes of existence, other frequencies or vibrations or whatever. So this is like on the Kabbalistic tree of life. When you cross over Doth, you're crossing the abyss. And that's associated with the high priestess, which is associated with the camel. The camel is kind of looked at as a vehicle that you use to cross the desert, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like the ark of the desert or the boat of the desert. There's stories of different occultists going out to the desert to do different workings and rituals and things like that. And so the desert has always been associated with the spirit realm, I think. And so that was definitely kind of like on my mind, I'll say, when we were there. And so nothing too, mystical happened. Actually, easily the biggest, largest shooting star with the longest tail, the longest streak that I've ever seen, I saw while we were out there.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing, actually. It was just like, whoa, that was really bright. And it was really, there was a long arc to it.
Well, yeah, and there was some kind of meteor shower that was happening while we were there, too. So I think it was when we got back on Saturday night. We got back real late. I mean, we weren't back to camp until like, I don't know, 1:30 or 2 or something, but we all stayed up and we just watched the sky. And I mean, that was probably the most like activity in terms of like shooting stars, and if it's meteorites or whatever.
Yeah.
That was like some of the most activity that I've seen in a long time when it comes to that kind of stuff. So that was really awesome.
Totally. It's the most I've seen of the night sky in a long time too.
Yeah.
So where we're currently located, if people don't know, but we're in the Pacific Northwest, and there's trees everywhere. There's a mountain, in front of us, and it's gorgeous and it's beautiful, but it does kind of cut off the expanse of the night sky.
Mm-hmm.
And so being out there was like the first time in a while where I'm like, whoa, I can see so many constellations, like, close to the horizon and things like that. And so that was a huge, huge treat. But yeah, definitely recommend it if anyone has never been there and if you're in the area.
Yeah. I mean, I already want to go back. And the thing, dude, like, what was I going to say? When we would pull up to the campsite, we got back, late or whatever. Honestly, it felt like home sweet home. Like, it was like, home sweet home. Oh my God. And like, I've only had that like one other time when I've been camping. And is actually kind of with, some of the same people that we were with.
Yeah.
And so I think that has something to do with it too, that we were with such good friends too. Then we were all kind of in the same boat a lot of times. And one of the things too that we all noticed was that, we were having conversations, obviously, like before we got to the conference or whatever. And what we were finding out is that like we would get to the conference and then like the presenter was literally talking about like the same things we were talking about before we even got to the conference.
Totally.
So there were a lot of things kind of like that, where it was like, just kind of the syncs were very strong.
Totally.
I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Strong synchronicities. As usual, I feel like that come through, but with that, it was pretty strong.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Got back, finding sand in bags and, in my laptop and like things like that. So
yeah.
The last night, that was really cool too. The last night we were out there, it was very windy. And while it really kept me up and I wasn't able to sleep hardly at all, it was cool for me to feel it was just cool for me to kind of feel that force out there.
Yeah.
And it was just a different ball game, just this high power wind and carrying with it sand and particles, things like that. And that was definitely, it was a special sort of thing, I feel like, just to kind of see a different lay of the land out there. Because for the most part, it was warm at night.
Yeah.
It wasn't super windy, but that last night it was really windy. So just to kind of see a different sort of angle with that desert was pretty rad.
Yeah, and there was tons of chaparral, which is one of my favorite plants to work with. And I had seen it, while we were driving, and in my mind I was like, oh man, that looks like chaparral. I wonder if that's what it is. And then as soon as we went on our hike, I just got a leaf of it and crushed it in my finger, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's chaparral. I mean, it has such a unique scent to it. And I wish I would have harvested some. We just didn't have the opportunity, It kind of floated away. But, it was just cool to like be in its presence and to realize how much of the desert plants are about protection. Like they are protection medicine to the max. I mean, and they're living in such extreme conditions that they would be really great for extreme measures. That's what they would be good for, something that's extreme, something that's an emergency or first aid or, whatever, wound healing, protecting the skin, that kind of stuff that, a lot of times that's the kind of medicine that's coming out of the desert. So that was very obvious on like a doctrine of signatures level.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, I don't even, it's not even worth describing some of these plants. But we saw some really unique plants out there.
Yeah, like stuff I've never seen before where it's like, holy crap, this looks like something that could either be underwater or on another planet or, whatever. And one of my things that I'm really stoked about is when the first time I went to Valley of Fire, like I said, or like Mario had said, it was like back in like 2013. And I always would tell Mario about that place. And I'd be like, oh my God, like I really want to go there with you sometime and this and that. And so the fact that we got to do that and we were with our really good friends and we were going to Flattoberfest and we were able to meet and hang out with other friends of ours that we know, it was just like, wow, what a cool freaking thing. And it really did feel like a genuine vacation, which we don't go on like ever. You know,
That's true. Yeah.
we rarely have trips where it's a vacation. Our trips are usually surrounded, revolving around an event or family,
Usually
or a holiday,
a wedding or something, or a
Yeah.
holiday. Yeah. Or the other thing, which I feel like I've gotten way better with, or I'm trying to juggle traveling and working at the same time.
Yeah,
and this really wasn't the case.
Yeah, you were able to, for the most part,
Right.
not have to do that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, which was nice.
Totally. I'll say the other thing that kind of sticks out for me is this is the first time I've been to Vegas in, geez, I mean, God, I almost can't believe like I can say this now in like 20 years or something like that.
Yeah.
My dad always used to say that. Oh, 20 years ago I met this guy, or like, oh, 15, 20 years ago. He always used to say that. I used to make fun of him. 15, 20 years, 15, 20 years. And I'm like, your life must have been really crazy 15, 20 years ago. But now I'm finding myself saying this all the time.
Right.
Because as we're getting older, that's when whatever. And obviously, as you continue to get older, 15, 20 years it's always moving along with you. But anyway, so I hadn't been to Vegas in that amount of time, 15, 20 years ago. And whoa, I mean, holy shit, dude. That place is wild.
Yeah.
And it is so unique. And it's not even I don't have like I don't know, it's like I don't want to stay on the strip or anything like that, but we walked through it a couple times, once by ourselves before friends got there, and then once with our friends at night. And I guess the word is spectacle. It's such a spectacle, but the spectacle is getting more and more in high tech, and so even just the airport itself, like waiting where you wait to get an Uber, all of the people that were around, it like blew my mind a little bit of like, God damn, there's
Yeah.
a lot of freaking people here.
Yeah.
And there's just screens everywhere, all of the casino games, all of the slots and stuff like that. It's just basically like there's literally slot machines, which I'm sure a lot of people here probably already know this, maybe not, but it's like you're basically surrounded in a gigantic screen. It's like there's a huge screen in front of you and there's screens to the side of you, and you're completely encapsulated in this sort of screen sort of cell type thing, and you're completely immersed in this little experience now.
Right.
And so just the amount of electricity that's pumped through that place, everything's vying for your attention, so everything wants your dollar, everything wants your attention. And so that was interesting to see just how far along all of that stuff, has evolved. The sphere, the Vegas sphere.
Oh my God. That was seriously so trippy.
Yeah, this huge, gigantic sphere that's obviously, full of LED lights or whatever. And it's just like when you see it in person, it really pops.
Dude, yeah. If you haven't seen or heard of this thing, this sphere, you two are the people that like you two they didn't create it or build it, but it's like they're behind it.
Yeah.
And Pedro drove us past it, and dude, that shit it's like trippy as hell, and it's in a not very good part of town either. And dude, there's probably going to be hella accidents where it is, because
it's so eye-catching.
You're driving down the road and like the sphere is right in front of you. And there's no way that people aren't like distracted by it or looking at it and are just like, what the hell? And it's all like trippy and it looks crazy and it looks like Back to the Future. That's what it reminded me of. The movie Back to the Future, when there's all the screens and there's this and there's that, it was kind of like that, on like a different level, because they're using kind of like almost like 3D imagery and stuff on it. So it does have that feeling going on. So very, very weird, very interesting, but kind of like gives you just like a little shot of how far they've come when it comes to the screen. And that's just what they're giving us. So Lord knows that their technology is just like way stronger and bigger than what we're seeing.
Right.
So yeah, but I honestly do think that us camping really helped to subside the overload that would have really happened had we been staying in the city. And we talked about that one morning when we were like literally having tea and coffee and stuff, of being like, dudes, if we were like on the strip right now, or we had a hotel, we'd be sitting in the hotel and then we'd be like, okay, let's walk around. All right, here. Whereas we had the campsite. So it was just like, well, we'll just be at the camp and then we'll just go into town. So I don't know. I think it was like the perfect combination for all of us personally.
No, my favorite day was the desert day.
Yeah.
My favorite day was when
totally.
we were out there and we were hiking and walking around and sweating and,
Yep.
you know, just going to these different sites within the park or whatever.
Yeah.
That was my favorite day. And so, yeah, it was a beautiful contrast between what we experienced in the city and then what we experienced about an hour away,
Yeah.
you know, in the desert.
Agreed.
So, but I just can't, I am such a observer, I guess, that it was interesting people watching, and it's just interesting to see the development of this place and like what it's become and how much money it must make.
Oh my God.
And just all of the other things that kind of come with it. Obviously, you know, it's a seedy place. There's like no way around it, but just like the trafficking and, you know, on all levels, people, drugs, you know, you name it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and just the big business sort of aspect and just kind of like all of these different things. It got me thinking about a lot of stuff, and I don't have any grand conclusions, to be honest with you, but it was just more of like, well, we're here. So it's almost kind of like you're here, you're the venue's close enough to all of this stuff, the main drag. So to me, it's almost kind of like, I don't know. For me, it was worth checking it out after a while.
What, the strip? Or?
The strip, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel like you don't have to go there and see it, but it's almost like when in Rome kind of feeling of, you
Right.
know, you might as well, because it's, I mean, prime people watching, that's for sure, you know, and people are doing their thing and whatever, whiling out, observing, you know, losing their fucking life savings, winning money, you know, all the things are happening all at once. And I'll say too, like, it wasn't, I always just think of, and we actually had a conversation with a woman at one of the, on Saturday night at the Spiders campfire, but about how she was saying that Vegas used to be better when the mafia ran it. And that it was actually more about like customer service
Right,
and making
yeah.
sure you had a good time and, you know, whatever. And now because when we started looking at hotels to like rent, because that was before we knew we were going to camp. I was looking at hotels and how much it was going to cost us just to rent a hotel for those 4 days. And I was like, holy shit, that's really expensive. I guess the days of going to Vegas cheap are gone, you know, kind of thing.
They are, yeah.
Because everything was just wild. But she was talking about how, you know, she was born and raised in Vegas, so she had been there for so long. So she's seen it transition, and was talking about how, like, basically the mafia, like, if you went there and you lost your whole life savings or whatever, what she said was that the mafia would literally pay to put you on a plane to get you back home, because they wanted you to come back. They wanted you to feel like you had a good experience there and that you were taken care of and that you, the customer, mattered. Whereas now, just like
Never gonna
everywhere,
happen.
yeah, and it's not just Vegas where that's happening. It's like, it's pretty crappy customer service in most places you go, or it's just like there's like an absent-mindedness, or people are just droned out, or they don't want to be at work, or whatever it is. And I can't blame them, I guess. But that whole side of things, I think, has really gone out the window. And being in Vegas and seeing all that, and then seeing the prices for a lot of stuff, and then seeing like what you get for the price, or, you know, our friend Vanessa searched out a quote unquote really nice restaurant, not like bougie, but like they advertise
quality
themselves
food and
as
stuff.
like a more like a health restaurant. And I'll say their options were great and stuff, but, you know, it's like, the portions were pretty small and everything's an upcharge and whatever, but we left feeling better eating there than we would have if we would have gone somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like, it's the classic.
You're just gonna pay for everything.
You're going to
now.
pay for everything. So if you want to treat your body better and you want to whatever, you're going to really pay for it. And that's the case. That's how it is though when you go to the grocery store. You know, if you go to the grocery store, if you want to eat well, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, so just real quick, so the woman who we talked to, who is a Vegas local, she said that the mob definitely used to run Vegas, but now it's more of a corporate influence.
Right.
Right. So just to make that distinction.
Right.
And so things have changed now. And I'll say, I know things have been going this way anyway, but this whole experience of just flying and you know, all of these airliners just gouging you with everything, nickel and diming you to the next degree that I wasn't even aware of.
Oh yeah.
You know, but the takeaway is that I think it definitely was already happening pre-COVID, but post-COVID, I really feel like the mentality with most businesses, not all, there's exceptions, you know, but with most businesses now, what it feels like to me is that they don't really care about your repeat business. It's more of a short-term gain for them. They want you to get in, and if you never come back, I kind of don't think that they care. I think that it's more about getting you to be a one-time customer, and if they can get you in with at least one experience, and if they rip you off or it's a terrible experience or whatever, they don't care.
Right.
Like customer service is dead. It's like it's a thing of the past. You know, good customer service is a thing of the past. And so I think it's more about getting you in the door, whatever, trying to make you spend whatever you can spend in however amount of time. But the concern is no longer to get you to come back next year or have you buy this product again. You know, it's just like the planned obsolescence sort of idea, kind of in a lot of ways, where it's like a turn and burn sort of thing. It's one and done. It's not like about you being fulfilled and feeling as though you got a quality sort of deal. It's more about them getting you for that one time sort of experience, and then that's kind of it. So I think that to me, that's the vibe that I get from everything now, where it's just like we've definitely kind of like turned a new page here, and that we're in the next chapter of things, and it's like these companies are getting away with doing all sorts of stupid shit that, you know, is really expensive, and you're going to pay up the ass for all sorts of stuff. And a lot of times these types of businesses, you have no choice. Just like being on an airliner and them charging for water. Just being on an airplane
Yeah.
and they're charging for water.
Yeah, a bottle of water, $4. It's like, seriously?
You have no choice.
Yeah.
You can't even, you know. And so to me, it's just one of these things where I'm like, every single step along the way, you know, a 15-minute Uber being $37.
Right.
And then when you're tipping, it's $40.
Right.
You know, or more, actually. You know, so anyways, so that's something that was definitely noticeable, where I mean, even when the first time I ever went with my folks, it was still a little bit more like the, oh, look at this buffet or look at this thing and it's really
Right.
cheap and it's awesome and whatever. It's like people used to be able to go, you know, on the cheap, and it's really not like that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. We learned that one.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too with when you fly, with the water thing, to me, when you fly, you get dehydrated. And I think the altitude change and everything, it really dehydrates your body. And so I don't know. I never not drink water when I'm flying now. Once I learned that, like, and whatever. And so I always try and fill like a water bottle up before you go on or whatever. But there's just all these little things, just like so many things, that they're not looking out for our best interest. They're not interested in keeping us hydrated or healthy or feeling good, you know?
Yeah. No.
And that it's just very clear, because something like water should just be something that's like a given, or, you know, whatever. But
You would think so.
you would think so. So
Not the case.
yeah, not the case.
So it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, some of you who maybe listened to the Healing Home on Tuesday also may have heard too that you know, we were hanging out with the Baldersons, and they actually got their truck stolen.
Oh yeah.
And so we were there hanging out on Sunday night, and they came to the realization that it had been stolen. And I think they already got another truck.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
So I think they were able to get another truck and get home and stuff. So there was a GoFundMe that was started, I think, by Brian Stavely of Dose of Reality, and I think they even met the goal on it.
Awesome.
So yeah, that was another thing that happened too. So shout out to the Baldersons. Hopefully that all worked out for them.
No, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I'll say, all things considered, I think he handled it like, decently well.
Yeah.
Having heard that his car or truck just got stolen.
Yeah, they were pretty calm about it, for
Yeah.
sure.
So could have been way worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right, right, right.
And luckily it sounds like they didn't have like much stuff in the actual car. But what they found out from the cops was that I guess one of the things, and this probably is in so many cities, I mean, but trucks are definitely sought after because they're big vehicles and they're worth money and, whatever. People can live in them, people can haul stuff. But I guess in Vegas, that's one of the things that these thieves will do.
I think not just Vegas.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It's in every city.
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
the cops in Vegas were saying that, if there's a truck and they steal it, it's because they're going to go to other places to haul away shit. They're going to go to a construction site that's not locked down, and they're going to, use the truck.
I think Thunder Chicken maybe hit it on the head here. I think Ben was more mad he lost his dab rig in the truck.
Oh, I didn't know that was in there. Uh-oh.
Yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah, you're probably all right. So anyway, but there was lots going on, lots happening. So it was a spectacle of all sorts.
Right, totally. And my conclusion is that, man, I mean, wherever the next Flattoberfest is going to be, I think I will seriously consider going. Just because I had such a great time. The city's really going to make a big difference. Who you go with makes a big difference. So I don't know if we'll be able to kind of mirror what this experience was all about, but there was enough going on that I'm like, fuck yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, it was.
I enjoyed myself.
It was a good time.
Can't I have fun every once in a while?
I think you should just have fun.
Okay, right on. Thank you.
Yeah.
Permission granted, huh?
Yep, totally.
Yeah. But with all that said, it's nice to be home as well.
Yeah, it feels really great to be home. I feel like finally, now yesterday I was starting to really feel like, okay, cool. But today felt more like a normal day.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. So anything else you want to bring up or talk about in regards to the trip or anything that people should know about?
I mean, not that I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Honestly, not off the top of my head. I have a show being released this weekend that I'll be talking about next week. Pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing man, I'm struggling with my Libra presentation.
Okay.
Not in terms of if I want to do it, but just when I should do it.
Okay.
Just because I've been so busy this week, but I've learned so much, guys, about Libra this past Libra season that I really want to get some of this stuff off my chest. And so actually, if there's anyone here, I have a question for the audience. So, I've been following each sign during the sign itself for several years now, however many years it's been. Producing content, illustrating the signs. I have my long-term poster project still in the works. And I've noticed for the last 2 or 3 years with Libra season, I get really busy. And so much so that literally out of all 12 signs, I have way less Libra content than anything else, like significantly less. And so I'm like, what's up with that? There has to be something there, I feel like astrologically, as it pertains to my, my chart or something like that. And I'm just kind of like wondering if anybody has any opinions about that. But every single Libra season, I either get a new client, I get new opportunities. This time we were busy. We went out of town. That's one thing. We were prepping the site for Crow. I have my client stuff and all of that. And so it's just really interesting that this always seems to be the case. And I thought this year I would break it. I thought this year in Virgo season, I was like, okay, this is the year where I'm going to like kill it with Libra stuff. And I'm going to do a lot of Libra content and Libra posts and whatever. And then very quickly, I was like, whoa, I have so much other stuff on my plate that this just has to be on the back burner, unfortunately. And I'm like, whoa, again, that's fucking nuts. But I was able to do enough research during Libra season, and a few very synchronistic things happened during Libra season that I'm like, so ready to talk about my perspective on Libra, the sign, and what it actually means. And it's something that is fresh to me, and it's very exciting because it's stuff that I never hear anyone else talk about. But I'm very convinced that I'm pulling on some very accurate threads that people will be interested to hear about, with the nature of the scales, the symbolism of the scales, what's really the core essence of scale symbolism. And I feel like I've kind of penetrated that veil. And so I want to talk about it. And even though tropically we're in Scorpio, I feel like it'll be worth my while to still, discuss some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it might be tomorrow, perhaps it might be Saturday, maybe Sunday. I don't know, but I want to put some time into this thing. After the stream, that's what I'm going to work on. And I think within the next few days, that's going to happen.
Nice.
So just wanted to throw that out there.
Nice.
Yeah, and you already know about it because I talk to you all the time about it.
Right.
So, but let me see. Does anyone have any opinion about that? Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. So Lee wants to know what my 10th house is. I'm not sure. I don't really know my chart that well, to be honest with you. I have friends that know my chart better than I do, so maybe I should just start there. But he's asking Saturn in Libra. Dave saying Libra, dude, it's Scorpio season now. I know, man. That's super funny. Okay, so yeah, maybe I'll share my chart with some people or whatever. But I just find it very kind of curious that seems to be the thing,
Right.
Where literally I can think back on previous Libra seasons and kind of like, remember why I was busy. And so anyway.
Well, maybe it's kind of like a thing where you need to know more about Libra or something, and there's like a challenge there. Like it's like almost kind of like having an emotional block or something. Maybe you just have like a block with Libra, but because there's like a really big weave that you're supposed to.
That's what it feels like.
I don't know.
I feel like I finally cracked the weave.
Right. So that might be part of it. So maybe now after this year, after cracking this code,
right,
maybe then it'll come more easily or something like that. That's kind of what comes to mind with me.
Right.
So.
Right. Gotcha.
But one of the other things that does come to mind before we, wrap it up here, that I realized was how nice it was to not be on social media.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Honestly, like I know it's a tool. I know we're here now online and all this stuff, but I didn't look at social media like at all while we were there. And I hardly used my phone. That's why the only photos I really have are like that of the desert, because I really wanted to take photos in the desert. I didn't even really bring my phone out hardly at all. For better or for worse, I know that some people probably would say you should have taken more photos or whatever, but it's like,
no, you're good.
I was so much in a better place by not being on social media and not feeling that pull to even want to look at it. And I guess one of the things for me that I realized was that even though I don't consider myself someone that's on my phone very often, I do, however, though, know that I get pulled into it. Like if I go on to post something, I end up scrolling, for a while or whatever. And I just like, wow, it was a good reminder and a good reset on that level to like put stronger boundaries on it for myself, because like I said, I don't just drone out on it too much, but there are times where, we sit down and then a half hour goes by and I'm like, oh God, I was like looking at stuff for a half hour. What? And I don't like that feeling because it really does pull you in. And I really could feel that addictive pull once we got home, like checking things. And then I felt the pull to want to grab my phone and like look at stuff. Whereas I didn't have that at all when we were on this trip.
Right. I mean, yeah, me neither. I mean, we were in a place that didn't have service anyway.
That's true. And so that was the other thing too.
Yeah. So it was perfect.
It was perfect. And even if we did have service at the campsite, I wouldn't have wanted to be sitting there on my phone,
And I've probably said this a million times already, but when I first met Michelle, she didn't have a smartphone and she didn't have a computer. she didn't even have a DVD player.
No, I didn't have anything.
And so she didn't have any of this stuff. And that was one of the appeals. I thought it was awesome, actually. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, she's like unplugged, in a way that I'm not. And I'm like, and I'm used to people hire me to do social media stuff, and I get paid to do design work and make websites and all this kind of stuff. So I've always been more connected with technology in part. I'm not saying that this is the exclusive reason, but in part because of my job, my
Right.
career, or whatever you want to say,
Right.
how I made a living. And so that was a huge, huge, huge thing for me where I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, this is awesome. She just isn't concerned with it. She doesn't care about it. And then I slowly kind of introduced it, I think, into your life a bit, but I liked it when you were disciplined, back then like that. But obviously we're living in kind of this reality where we're straddling in, two worlds or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, it's a different time too. I mean, that was over 10 years ago when it wasn't as it wasn't as necessary to have some of that stuff. And it's still not necessary. I know plenty of people that have successful business, plenty. I know a handful of people who have successful businesses, teach classes, do things, have people who buy their books and everything and don't have an online presence at all. You know, so it's not that it's impossible. It's just it's like what you choose to do. And so anyway, that just for me was like a really good reminder. And
It's
so
a nice break.
yeah, to just like still use it as a tool, but instead of getting lost in it, using it for what it's for and whatever. I didn't like the feeling that I had once we were back and how comfortable it was for me to just literally grab my phone and be like, oh, well, let's just check or whatever. Whereas before, I don't know. It's just worth keeping in check, I guess.
No, that's why breaking your habit and routine, just like with the diet thing or fasting, is important.
Right.
Because you realize like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, because I felt the same way. As soon as I got home, I was like, I was just joking around with you. I'm like, I haven't seen a car crash video since we left.
Right.
And now on social media, Instagram, car crash videos, cat videos, stupid memes, whatever. And it's just kind of like, that's interesting, where I don't need that stuff in my life.
Right.
Yet here we are, and I'm aware of it. And just like what you said, it just takes one. Well, the way these apps are designed is that they're designed to pull you in. And the thing with the phone is that it really is a Trojan horse. It's like the greatest Trojan horse that I think we've probably ever seen before.
Right.
And it really makes sense that it is symbolic of the monolith of 2001. And Kubrick actually wanted, and it might be in the book, I can't remember, but the monolith in 2001, A Space Odyssey, was supposed to have imagery on it. It was like a light show or whatever. There was supposed to be projections on the monolith. And what I've read, I don't know if it's true, but I read that it was too technologically advanced to do at the time. And so they just kept it black, like your phone, like a screen with no light, coming through it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so the phone now, it's our everything device. So it's how you call grandma. It's how you text your girlfriend. It's how you communicate with work. It's how you check your email. It's you can do business on your phone. There's some people where literally their phone is their device for business.
Oh yeah.
And that's it. They don't even have a laptop.
Right.
They could do everything they need through their phone. There's a million apps to do a million different tasks or whatever. And so because it's our everything device, it's sucking you in into using it. And then all of these apps and stuff, if you want to be public and you want to share media or share content or whatever, right now it's like your stuff should probably be visible on the phone. It's probably going to be visible on the phone, just like YouTube. Everything, you can just watch on your phone. And so it sucks you in with productivity and how much time you might save and all the things you can accomplish. But then it very cleverly kind of puts its hooks in. And then now with media being what it is, short and digestible and, just these like dopamine hits right after another.
Right.
It just it can really consume a lot of time, a lot of unexpected time, because all you want to do is check your email.
Right.
Or all you wanted to do is just check your messages.
Right.
Or post a thing. And then now there's this other thing, and then now you have ads, and it's a whole entire thing. It's a slippery slope.
No,
definitely.
It totally is, and I get it. I understand why that's a thing, I guess. But it was just a really nice break. So that felt really good. And it just felt good to have a reminder, of to keep it in check and have a boundary and
Right.
all the things. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you had the break.
Me too.
Yeah.
There was something. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
There was something else that I was thinking of, and it just escaped me, but it was along these lines. Oh, well, I mean, also too, like seeing the amount of people that are glued to their cell phones just like at the airport.
Oh yeah.
And I know you're traveling, so a lot you might be getting an Uber, you're looking at a schedule or whatever. So there's reasons to be using a phone while you're traveling, but you can tell when people are just like droning out and they're just like playing a video game. And you can like see if you just glance over at somebody in an airplane chair, you can see if they're on their phone and what they're doing, given where you're sitting. And most of the people they're just playing games or whatever. And I know they're passing the time, but I just like, to me, it's kind of disturbing to think just how much attention is put in that area on the screen, being consumed by other people's lives or what thing is going on or this or that, or just the pure distraction of it. And to see that like some people just never turned their cell phone off the whole entire flight, and then off the flight they're on the phone too. And so it's kind of mind blowing. It really, when you're just an observer, you learn so much.
Well,
I think, sorry, but that's
yeah.
what the phone keeps you away from, is being an observer. Yeah, you're observing something on a screen, but like the world around you, it takes you out of the present moment. Because it's like, even though that video you're watching is in the present moment, it's like, but it was like made by somebody whenever, and it's just like rotating.
Yeah.
You're not in your own present moment in your own life. You're like,
Right.
you're being put into someone else's world or whatever, which is great. To a certain extent, but it's very interesting to just see
Oh yeah.
the patterns of addiction.
Well, even just the sphere, or the Vegas sphere, it's like, so what is it? It's a big sphere. There's it's a huge screen on the outside and a huge screen on the inside. So what I've always said regarding the screen, it's actually, to me, I almost feel like the screen is like the important aspect here, or something like that. It's the thing that I feel like you maybe should perhaps be like the most skeptical of, is just the nature of the screen and how it can mesmerize you, and how it can program you, and how it can show you things that you didn't even want to see, but here it is right in front of you because you're just scrolling,
Right.
But the screen really wants to envelop us. And so I've used this sort of storyline analogy thing before, but it's like the earliest screens were for public consumption at like a little theater type thing. And there was a screen, and they would have little, movies or whatever, very short, black and white, all that kind of stuff. And then eventually the screen got bigger and bigger. The projectors and the film technology got better and better. So then at some point you went to a movie theater that had a big, large screen with bigger speakers and more seats and all that kind of stuff. And it was a spectacle, and then at a certain point, screen technology got into the home. So then now the movies that you saw in the theater, you can actually, if they were broadcast over the airwaves, you could see the same movies at home. So instead of having to go to a facility and you're sitting across the room from a screen with a bunch of people, now you can be looking at a screen in the confines of your own home. And so then you have obviously television and the news networks and all this other kind of stuff. And then, of course, theater still existed and all of that. But then the screens in our home started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So now, and the resolution got higher and higher and higher and higher. At the same time, the screen became the main interface for the personal computer. And so then not only did you now have a screen in your living room or in your office or whatever, now you had one on a desk that you sat at, that you can do stuff at, right? And so the screen became personal, the personal computer, the PC computer. So it became your personal screen.
Right.
Okay. So now you're even closer to the screen than you were before. Beforehand, you were in a theater. It's however many feet away from you. Then it got into the living room, and now there's a shorter distance between you and the screen. The screen got bigger and bigger and bigger. Now you literally have the screen on your desk.
Right.
Well, now the screens are in our pockets and the
Right.
screens are in our hands. And then now the screens are literally over your eyes.
Yeah.
And you have virtual reality and all this other kind of stuff. So you see that the screen's progression has gone from across the room getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to you. So to me, this means one of two things. I think the screen or technology or AI or the transhuman agenda, whatever you want to say, I see the screen or technology kind of operating in two ways, where I think it wants to envelop you, a la the Vegas sphere and the spectacle that's becoming. And when you look at footage of people in the Vegas sphere, what are they doing? They're filming things. They're filming the screen with their personal screen that
Right.
they have in their pockets, that they carry around everywhere with them. So technology seeks to envelop you, and it also seeks to go inside of you.
Right.
And so it's a as within, so without kind of thing.
Right.
So definitely, I think the tech wants to dwell within us, but it also wants to encapsulate us. And I see that that's what's happening with the screen. The screen wants to completely encapsulate us. And so now it's so close to us that it's literally inches away from our eyes. And the resolution is fucking crazy next level. Like the new Apple VR headset, the resolution is nuts. And so I'm like, wow, well, where does it go from there? You know? And it's like,
Right.
well, I think what happens from there, I'm not saying this in a doomsday sort of way or whatever, but it's just like the Matrix, where it's just like, well, kids now grow up and they have an iPad that's put in front of them, and they
Yeah.
have simple games and they can watch their cartoons or videos or whatever, but it's like, at what point are we going to raise a generation where the kid literally doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality, that they're so they're so used to the screen and the screen world that world is going to mean more to them than the actual real world. And we're already there. There's people who already feel that way, basically.
Oh
And
yeah.
pretty much their lifestyle is pretty much in line with all of that. So I'm not dogging the screen. I'm not saying you can't watch TV or play games or obviously watch YouTube. We're on YouTube right now.
Right. Yeah. That's
So it's
right.
just the fact of the matter of just like, this is just the pattern that I've noticed.
Right.
Look at the screen, how humans used to interface with it. And over the decades, it's gotten closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to us. So where else does it go from there?
Right. I mean, yeah, you're right. Inside, then you get into the Neuralink and you get into all this
Yeah,
stuff
right,
that they're
exactly.
wanting to do and whatever. And so, yeah, I just, it's something that I've wanted to talk about, even like have a show about it, but like just a screen addiction in general,
Yeah.
and it's almost like it's kind of become like a taboo subject because there's so many people, like ourselves included, that use the screen for so many things.
Yeah.
And so whether it be whatever the thing is, I just think that addictions, I think a lot of times people forget that we can be addicted to things that aren't like substances.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that we're taught from young ages that like addiction means drugs or something like that. Because even food, you can sometimes forget, just like we were talking about, until you do a reset or you step away from something, you might not realize that you've been consuming something habitually. Just out of habit or out of addiction. You know what I mean? And so anyway, I really like talking about this subject because I think it's important to talk about, and you don't hear many people bringing it up because I think that it's a sensitive topic and it's not to like offend people or whatever, but it is. It's like, it's good to reevaluate like everything in your life, and everything that you do on a daily basis matters. And, I just think that it's healthy to take a look at things like that. And I think because I've recently been doing that with multiple things in my life, I'm really seeing the benefits from it. So it's like a good reminder of like when you do those things and reevaluate what's going on, you just are like excited to tell other people about it because it's like you're seeing the benefits.
Right.
And so I think it just has something to do with that. But that was one of my biggest takeaways of the whole trip. Was that aspect, just that alone,
Right.
And because I admittedly can get too emotionally attached. And I've had to check myself with that, with emotionally attaching myself to chats or whatever type of
I would say influencers, people,
yeah, totally.
content creators.
Exactly. And it's totally, I can admit it. And it's something that I've had to work at, because then my mind starts spinning and you're like, oh man, did I say something stupid? Oh man, why didn't they acknowledge that? Or, oh boy, I shouldn't have said that, or this or that. And so I can, I can get that way because it's just one of my shadows of being self-conscious.
Yeah.
And being a little bit more, just emotionally attached to things that in a different way, or like in a way that might be hindering. And so anyway, I can see how I've had to, like, distance myself, and that's even in person. That's not just screen things. It's like, just I've had to like be like, okay, you're getting too emotional about this, and then your mind is spinning, so you need to like kind of like figure that out or whatever.
Right.
And I just think that happens to a lot more people than we might think or whatever, but it's just part of it. And so
Right.
yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, no, I think you should do an episode on it, and I bet you'll probably get a better response than what you think, because I think that a lot of people can kind of acknowledge it. It's just it forces you to kind of reconsider or reevaluate your relationship with certain things,
Right.
which isn't always easy to do. So it's like going to a bar and talking about the dangers of alcoholism.
Yeah, it's
Do
true.
you know what I mean? So it's
No,
just kind of like,
totally.
but I bet you some people there would be honest with you and be like, yeah, no, that's why I'm here, or it's just like, I know I can acknowledge that I have this thing that I maybe could do more work on or whatever, but
Right.
you should totally do it. You've talked about this for years. And like I said earlier on, it's like when I first met you, you didn't have any of this stuff really.
Yeah, and I remember, like, I can like think back to that, not even in a nostalgic way, but like on an emotional, a physical, and like spiritual level, feeling more free and feeling like, and obviously my life was very different. I was young. I was 10 years younger, 12 years younger, however much younger it was. I was younger, had a different like mindset, even in terms of just like where I was at with things, what I was doing. I was still working a job and all those things. But I do remember feeling so much less attached to so many things like that, where I'd be like, "Yep, going to the library today to check my email," and that was like that was like literally once a week.
Right, yeah.
I'd go to the library.
Nope, no emails.
Nope, no emails. See ya. Gonna ride my bike around and have a
yeah.
good day and not think about really any of this kind of stuff. And so I just think it's interesting. But yeah, the contrast to it. And then now kind of taking the role that I have, which I'm excited about and I really like it. It's just really funny to me that I would have never guessed that. If someone would have told me that I'd be doing live streams and stuff like that, I'd be like, wait, what? Like, what's a live stream?
Right.
Which they probably weren't even that big of a thing then, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know?
I know what you mean.
And so anyway, it's just, it's always interesting to see just like how our lives change.
Do you remember you got all butthurt about your coffee shop getting iPads?
Oh my God. I like tried to protest it.
Tell the people.
Okay, so
Which shop was it?
It was Case Study.
Right.
So I used to work at this coffee. I've worked at multiple coffee shops, but I worked at this coffee shop in Portland. It was called Case Study Coffee, and they were kind of more like fancy, which I'm not a fancy girl, if you could tell. But so they were kind of like on the cutting edge of things. They were on the cutting edge of coffee. They were on the cutting edge of like coffee equipment. So they were very like up to speed with what was called the fourth wave of coffee. So anyone who is into coffee might know that there was like, I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering right, it was called like the fourth wave coffee, and which was very involved with kind of more intricate systems of brewing cold brew. Pour overs were like a thing, like a pour over bar at a coffee shop. Very lightly roasted coffee is part of that whole thing. Long story short, because they were on the cutting edge, they were like really excited when iPads came out with Square, because Square then replaced the cash register. And I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. Like, I see the writing on the wall. There's going to be screens everywhere, and everyone is obsessed with this iPad thing now. And I'll never forget, I drew like this like angsty comic or something, making fun of it. And I brought it into the shop and I like showed it to my boss. And she started laughing, of course. And she just looks at me and she goes, "We're still getting the iPad." And I was like, "Yeah, you are. I get it. But like, just hear me out. Like, this is crazy and whatever." And now, I mean, it is like, that is what most businesses use as a register is an iPad. And I get the convenience of it, but yeah, I totally was like really against that and didn't like it and whatever. And here I'm not a Luddite, but you know, that's what it's called?
Someone who doesn't want to deal with technology.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, more like that. I mean, literally I had a Discman. Like I used a Discman. As opposed to like people had iPods and stuff. And I was like riding my bike around with a Discman in my backpack and literal CDs.
I bought you a Discman at one point.
Yeah, like a heavy duty one because I used to go running and I would use my Discman and I'd run with the Discman. And he's like, "How does that not skip?" And I'm like, "Oh, it does." And then he like got me one that had like a big old lock on it and stuff. And it was really nice. I was very excited about it.
And this is way after anybody was using these. Like people would be like, "Is that a Discman? Holy shit."
And I would like use it to play music at the cafe. Most people would have, like I said, an iPod.
Right.
And here I am rolling up with a Discman and hooking up with an auxiliary cord and everything else. And they're all like, "All right, dude, like if that's what, you know, whatever." But anyway, yeah, the iPad thing. And then I remember just thinking like, wow, this is slowly just going to infiltrate. And it did. And not like I was like predicting the future by any means, but I saw it as a thing and I was like, "Oh shit, now that it is infiltrating like businesses like this, it's over." Like it's over. It was just like a thing where I just knew that it was going to be, you know, whatever.
Right.
And so and I remember you just being like, "We just going to have to like accept it because they're not going to not do it."
Yeah. Right.
You know, and that's just kind of what life is actually usually all about is acceptance of yourself and other people, that because otherwise you're going to go insane. You'll go insane, you know, thinking about, well, why do they do that? Why did they do this? Why am I doing this? Whoa, well, just like accept the way that it is so that you can move on and like just move the fuck on.
Totally. Yeah, that's hilarious. Amy, Leaves of Grass, no skip Discman. They were expensive. When I bought it from Michelle, they weren't expensive because they were so outdated. But originally, yes, absolutely, totally expensive. I totally just got flashbacks from buying a Discman at Walmart when I was a kid. I was so excited. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, that shit was the shit to have that.
And then Elliot's saying, "I run in silence."
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted Michelle to do.
Well,
that's what I convinced you to do at a certain point. I'm like,
did.
"Babe, if you're gonna run or if you're gonna bike, just do it silently. Like you don't know what dangers lurk and if a car's coming or whatever, all sorts of different things. Like, why do you need to be listening to that while you're on the road?"
No, it's true. And Mario has been a catalyst for me for a lot of things, but that was one of them. And once he told me that, you know, then I started running with nothing. And I was like, wow, this is so much better. And same thing with riding my bike, because I didn't own a car for many years and I rode my bike everywhere. And Portland is the city where if you're going to do it, Portland is a great city to do it in. And I used to ride around with music on.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Mario again was like, "Hey, like you can't hear a car coming. Like it's really dangerous." And once I stopped listening to music while riding, it got way better because I was more present and more in the moment and not so concerned about like what I was listening to or what have you. So yeah, those are all good points. It's because even just listening to music can sometimes be distracting to the point, or you can become addicted to having something just going on in the background. Right. How many people do we know? My parents are included, my mom especially. She has multiple TVs throughout the house and she literally needs it. She says, "I need to have the background noise."
Right.
There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
And whether and you know whatever. And I used to be that way with music. I would never have imagined in so many years that I would like drive a car without music on. I would laugh at somebody if they did that. And now I do it quite often, where I don't listen to anything.
We've literally gone on like 12-hour long rides.
And listen to nothing.
And literally not listen to anything.
Not even a podcast.
Yeah.
And so to me, I just think that it's kind of like hitting on that vein of just, again, you know, what is it that we're if you're feeling like you're needing something to get through the day or needing that constant stimulation, it's like, there's always something to look at there.
Right.
And again, I'm guilty of it as well. So,
Likewise.
yeah. So, but anyway, that was a tangent, but
it was a good one.
yeah.
Nice. Well, let's address the chat.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through some credits here.
Sounds
and then
good.
we'll land this ship.
All right.
So, what's up, guys? Thanks for hanging out. Cozy Crone is here still. Elliot James is here. Thunder Chicken is still here.
Woo.
My Sharir, yes, I haven't had a chance to check that out. I did see that you sent it though. So thanks for the reminder to give it a go.
Oh,
Beautiful Bloom Seeds is here.
how you doing, milady? And that's awesome. You still have a cassette player in your closet.
Totally. Lee, yeah. So Lee just said, I've heard almost every Crow show. That's the best source of info out there. So that's the show that's going to release this weekend. So I recorded with Crow last week, and so I don't think they'll care that I mentioned that. So recorded with them last week, and that should be out on Sunday. And then if you guys haven't heard Michelle's Crow episode, that released a week or two ago. So that's pretty cool that they invited me. I think we had a good chat. It was pretty early in the morning. And that's my only regret, is I kind of wish I would have maybe pushed back on a different time slot because, I don't know, I was just still kind of waking up. But it's all good. I think
I'm
there's going to
sure
be other opportunities
you
to talk.
killed it.
And so anyways, so yeah, Leaves of Grass is here. Liam's here if I haven't said that already. Dave says, I went to case study a few months ago and they pissed me off because they wouldn't take cash.
Oh,
well,
those
that sounds
bastards.
exactly like them, yeah.
I bet. Yeah, they're so snooty, man. I couldn't handle it. Couldn't handle that place. Their coffee used to be good, but they're so snobby.
Totally. So, okay, so some people, I think it's because I mentioned Kabir is still here. William Pals is here. Thanks, guys. Miri's here. Miri says, before I get to this comment, Miri says, remember to drink your pee and be your own healer. That was definitely a thing. Amanda Vollmer went all in on drinking your piss. And I feel like I'm going to give it a try, actually, to be honest. I just don't know when. But regarding Libra, some people were talking about Libra in the chat. And
okay.
So I don't think this is really spilling the beans. I don't even know if I should begin because it's such a big rabbit hole. But I think Libra, the scales, it's a substitute symbol for the world axis, essentially. And I feel like it's like provable, essentially. It's provable. I've got quotes. I've got receipts, if you want to put it that way, that what makes a scale function is that vertical axis. Whether it's the stand of the scales or it's the handle that the scales are held by, that vertical middle pillar of the scales is what allows there to be balance. And so I'm calling my presentation the axis of Libra. And I'm going to get into the axial symbolism, the world axis, northern polar aspect related to Libra. And so
it's going to be good.
Very excited to talk about it because there's a lot to get into and it makes so much sense. That it brings me joy when I feel like I crack a new code that makes perfect sense to me. That's like one of my greatest little pleasures, I would say.
Right.
So this one I feel is like it's a complete idea. It's a complete concept. I've talked to other people about it. I feel like I have enough evidence to suggest that this is actually the case, that the scales of Libra essentially is another world axis symbol. And so I'm starting to just think that all of these signs of the zodiac are related to northern polar stellar symbolism. It's just about finding that root, finding the core of it, and what that looks like. And so there's several signs where I feel like I already have that understood, but there's other signs that I feel like I'm still kind of like trying to figure out that angle with it.
Right.
So anyways.
Yeah, babe.
So that's just a little teaser. Awesome. Okay. So let me get our slides going. So once again, michelleshealinghome.com for all of your healing home offerings.
Yep.
And is this still accurate, Bub? These items that you have here, or have you sold out?
No, this is still accurate. I've got one St. John's wort tincture and anointing oil set left, but other than that, I'm pretty well stocked with everything else. The tooth powder, I've got 6 left. So yeah, it's a pretty accurate menu, but you can also go to my website and see. I have sold out of a lot of things, but with this with the next full moon offering, which is coming up on Saturday, I'm going to have some more products that are going to be launched.
Awesome. So your new full moon offerings newsletter is coming out on Saturday.
Yes.
So this is sold out. Been sold out for a while.
Yeah, elderberry and reishi mushroom syrup is sold out. Probably make one more batch this season, I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, until then, we are sold out of that one. And like we're saying, next issue is dropping on Saturday, and all the patrons will be getting the update of what the offering is on Friday, tomorrow already.
Right. So thank you guys once again if you're a Patreon subscriber.
Yes.
Including all of these fine folks.
Yep, you guys seriously are, it's such a huge help. Your support really goes a long way. So thank you so much. Patreon.com/thehealinghome for anyone who'd like to sign up. And now next week, this coming Tuesday on Halloweeny. Woo! I'm so glad I'm doing this show on Halloween. Dana of Rotting Jewels is coming on at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to talk about the Process Church of the Final Judgment. And we're probably going to go all over the place, I'm assuming, because she is a wealth of knowledge and her research is really deep. It's really good. She's cracking codes that I don't think many other people have cracked when it comes to the Process Church. And so I'm really, really, really looking forward to talking to her. You can find her on YouTube, Rotting Jewels on YouTube. She goes live quite frequently and has been really hammering the process stuff. So come and join me and Dana next week on Halloween on the 31st. Here.
That's going to be a good one. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, dude. As soon as I saw her on the Occult Rejects, and I was like, I really want to talk to this lady. And I've really enjoyed watching her live streams too. Because we were out of town, I haven't really caught up, but she's just a really great wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, you guys are going to have a good one.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Obviously, this is last Thursday, taking calls and hanging out. That's what we do now. Symbolicstudies.com if you guys are interested in tarot readings, study sessions. I fucking love doing study sessions with people. I don't know if this is going back and forth for you guys at the end here, but it's StreamYard is kind of whatever, being funny. But I love doing study sessions with people.
Yeah.
And so I have like 2 or 3 consistent students who I meet with on a weekly basis, or so bi-weekly. And I feel like I have a knack for just teaching people and for being excited to share the information and, helping somebody along their sort of symbolic path and stuff. So I'm going to start talking about that more.
Yeah.
And just letting people know that that's what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for more student-teacher sort of relationships. And if I can help you understand the tarot or astrology or anything else that you feel like is within my wheelhouse, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But with that said, I think that'll do it, guys.
Yes, this was a good one. Thanks for hanging out for our updates and our calls. I think putting together another series for last Thursday would be a cool idea too.
I'm down.
Yeah, we did Summer of Love, but actually somebody did give us a suggestion. Chris, King of Cups, suggested doing like I'm pretty sure it was kind of like more like the electronic rave scene.
Oh,
kind of thing, which I don't know too much about, but that could be an interesting rabbit hole. But I know that there's many things that we have up our sleeves in terms of just like series that we could jump into again.
I think, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It has to be something that we already know about.
Exactly. That's why the rave thing is like, well, it's not really my thing, but I'm sure there's tons of fuckery going on. With that. So anyway, we'll come up with something. Another series.
I think these chairs were a success too.
Yeah, it's so much more relaxing, and having like armrests makes a big difference. And the chairs really I actually want to keep sitting here as opposed to the black folding chairs we had. Is like, okay, I'm good. My ass is really sore and my hips are sore. So yeah. Anyway,
Gotcha.
so grateful for these ones.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good weekend.
All right. Later, guys. Thank you for hanging out.
See ya.
Appreciate it. Later.